Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to FreeCell Quest Deluxe Edition. Let's continue. So, let's see. Large cities and capitals sell armor and consumables. Honestly, I think it might not be a bad idea if you just exited out of the game and then went back in and saw all of these tips of the day and read them all. Because they're not really tips as much as they're tutorial messages that you kind of need to have. Otherwise, you're left without any real understanding. So, I talked about in the last recording how this background in particular is so bright and detailed that it's distracting, whereas the cards here are extremely bland. In fact, these card faces are specifically even designed to be the kind of card faces you'd see on a mobile game more than even a PC game, because they are not even bothering to put the numbers as you'd actually see it on a real pack of cards, where there'd be a number in another corner and another suit there. So you just kind of have a white background and colors, which that's good, the classic design for cards, of course. That's what these card faces are. But then you have this blue background that's just distracting. And I don't do this. I don't think I've ever done this before, but I made a filter to show what it would look like if the image was inverted. So I want to turn that on and just goof around here for a second. Now, I can't personally see what you're seeing, but for your consideration, boy does this background now look, when inverted in the colors, a lot wider. Boy, do these cards now stand out a lot more. But again, I can't really see what I'm doing because the screen still looks exactly the same to me. But yeah, there definitely was an artistic mistake being made here to have this blue background. Let me turn that off though, because I cannot, as a video game critic, be in the habit of fixing other people's mistakes when developing a game. That's hardly fair, or being so certain that my suggestion actually is the right suggestion is another thing to keep in mind. Because yeah, I could be wrong. I could totally be just speaking out of turn completely here, and this could be a great artistic decision, and I'm just missing something. I don't feel like that's the case, and since criticism is just a person's opinion, I can't really back down from what I've said before either. So that leaves me with where we are, the situation where I honestly feel like some big mistakes were made here as far as what to do and how to do it. Let's see. Cancel all incoming attacks. Well, this only costs a little bit of mana, but I gotta really be careful with the mana now. It's speeding up, I think, the amounts of attacks as much as I'm leveling up. So there's probably some extra shenanigans happening here. Let's see. I need this shuffled. So let's take this, and I really didn't need it shuffled like that though. I needed to do something else first. We can move that over there, I guess. Can move this over here, and then shuffle this deck again. I may have to just learn where to rest. See, we're in this weird position where there's a place to rest, we know, but I don't know where it is. I need to hold 14 mana back in case I need to escape. Really, I'm not trying to... There you go. Pull this forward. I'm not trying to lose here, because then I'll lose the gold, and that's gonna be a problem. There we go. So we're getting lots and lots of XP now as we get further and further into the map, and a decent amount of gold. We're really not getting a extra amount of other things though. So right now, an accessory with 25% gold reward would be helpful. Some extra defense on the legs would be helpful. Extra defense anywhere would be helpful, frankly. I don't think I have anything for the legs, so we'll buy this. And then sell, I think, this, because we don't need that. And then how much gold do we have? 269, and we want well, how much would the buy value be on this? 52? If it was 52, then why can't I buy it? It says 273, doesn't it? I can barely read that. Again, yellow. Just yellow on the tan appearance. That's ridiculous. There we go. Alright, let's hope that that was not anything redundant. So now we've got some legs. Apparently if we want to trash something, we can trash it. I don't know why we would want to do that. I can't even tell what this is visually. That doesn't look like anything to me. Oh, and 25% extra gold is not something I would want, because the accessory I have right now is 25 extra XP. So that could have been a big mistake. But what we don't have is a place to rest, or a way to rest, unless there's some button in the menu that when we're out there that I haven't seen yet. So yeah, I don't know how you take a game like this when it has kind of some obvious mistakes made to it. I don't know what there is really to say, or how to even justify looking from a different perspective when it seems so blatantly obvious. It feels like these. Well, I'm probably just being far too kind and should probably just rip them a new one. Frankly, they should have seen this. Like that's really what this boils down to, is they should have seen that some of their color palette choices were bad, and that they should have changed some things, or at least had the option to change some things. And they didn't. Ooh, this stinks, but I guess we can do that. And then we can do that. And then we can potentially win the entire game. Okay. So there's no button here. So if I go to menu, that just brings us back to this. Once you've cleared the capital, it will never be retaken. Well, this is the capital. But Apparently other things could be taken. 2 suits, 7 stacks, normal sort. Best time, some amount. If I click here, if I right click here, if I middle click here, let's see. Heal, I can do that. So we're just looking for an inn, but I don't know where an inn would be. And this mountain range decides to split up your location, so that makes a mess. Wow. I'm still running into a lot of these that are super easy. I could have easily imagined covering a FreeCell game. I would have played one FreeCell game per 30 minutes. And then it would have been a little bit random, I guess, as far as just how much success I would have per game, because I would just assume it would, most FreeCell games would give me just kind of random shuffles. There is an interesting phrase that was used there. They said normal sort, which tells me that there is some kind of algorithm that's being considered here. And some of these levels are specifically sorted in some different way. I guess we'll just keep running around. I'm trying to, I guess, level up until we have a full heal. We don't want to lose money, although maybe losing money is not as big of a deal as it seems, because even when we did get to a shop that could sell us something better than what we have, the increase in defense wasn't by that much. And yeah, I had suspected that we would, when we started seeing redundant versions of armor, that it would only be slightly better versions of what is already available. It seems like maybe we go from 3 defense to 10 defense. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to 25 defense and then stops at that point, which would potentially be maybe 2 other classes of armor. Alright. We've got to get as much of this off the field, I guess, as possible. Let's see. That we need to get this ace, we need to get this 2. We need to do a bunch of things. Guess heal. But now that I've healed, I don't have enough mana. This could shuffle all the red cards. But honestly, I don't think we'd even have a good reason to use any of these items until much later. Actually, I might need to just quit, because there doesn't seem like there's any move. So let's just quit out. Yeah. Just quit out, jump back into the game, not lose, and start over. Of course, with less magic. So it's not great. It's really not a great start. Let's see. Put that there and that there. that changes very little. If I put that there and that there, maybe I can make a little bit of room that way. If I put that there, and then that there, and then move that, and that, and then move that, and then move that, and then move that down. Yeah. I guess if I was at full health, I could take 10 hits, and the odds are not terrible that I would win before having to take 10 hits. Let's see. Put that down, and then do that. And all of that. Right. Well, that one popped and didn't attack. Interesting. So apparently there's some level of evasion you can have. Can't move all those, can't move all those. I can move that much though. There we go. But there needs to be some kind of place where you can rest and refill. If you can't rest and refill, then you potentially could be in a scenario where you played very poorly, or you just had a very terrible run of bad luck, and that terrible run of bad luck made it impossible for you to succeed ever, and you're left with very little magic and very little health. And if there's no way to really refill that, I guess it does refill when you die, so you probably would just run into a point where you have no gold, and it would be a hard scenario to imagine that even if you had no gold, you wouldn't be able to go back and challenge a place again and grind and figure out some way to get some XP and unlock something, level up. There definitely have been scenarios in games though that I've played where you're definitely in a bad position because of the way things just come out, or because you hit a major difficulty spike in the gameplay. Yeah, there was a AAA game I just relatively recently played called Control that ran into that problem. It was really, really difficult, in part because I didn't have a lot of interest in it and ran towards the end of the story. So then I had to, on the big final boss fight, basically, I was unable to beat the game, so I had to go back and just play for several more hours to grind. So that's what I was waiting for, was a level up to get mana and health, and then we'll just take the capital on, which you can see with 7 stacks, it's a little bit difficult, a little bit more difficult than normal, but I don't think it really is going to be much of a problem. the things they can affect here would be how fast does something attack you, because that's like total made up stuff that has nothing to do with FreeCell, so they can manipulate things that way. But otherwise, these kind of games can only be so complicated. There's more XP, more gold. Seems like if you want gold, going to the capital is a logical sense. Ah, and here it is. Capitals are where you rest. So you rest for 55 gold. I wouldn't want to do that right now, but we would potentially consider that. So we have some feet here, defense we can buy, and chest defense improvement. So buy the feet defense, and then selling things. You could probably sell this, there's no reason to hold on to that. And I'll hold on to everything else. I didn't actually go back and see if I could buy this. No, of course not. I'd be asking too much. So we're just looking for a weapon now, and we haven't seen anything like that. Our defense is 9 or 0. I think that's supposed to be 9. Plus 2 defense, plus 2 defense, plus 3 defense would be 7, plus 1 defense would be 8, plus 1 defense is 9. Yeah. So we have a defense of 9, and we have a 84% XP bonus because I think of our class, and the 25% XP bonus. And then we, I guess, are 10% complete according to the game, which is interesting. So that does tell us there's a lot more to this, but it certainly could be a lot more of the same. Put that, and as soon as we get another card set and we can make a third cell open, the games will just get easier. And they're already pretty easy right now. Although, in all fairness, I'm not sure it really serves your target audience or FreeCell players in general if you had jumped in this game and the very first game you tried to play was incredibly difficult. But I was expecting to have 4 FreeCells open to start with and playing 4 decks. They've kind of taken you to like a baby mode when you're just playing with 2 decks. That's not something, it's not something I've ever done, and I don't think most people who've casually played FreeCell on PC would recognize a 2-deck FreeCell as being the real FreeCell. Let's see. So that hit me for 40 damage. So it's kind of obvious that your health defense is not ever going to be enough to reduce the amount of damage you take down to 0. So focusing heavily on defense is not useful. A lot of RPGs also put in the twist of weight in your armor, so even if you are trying to have a a lot of armor and increase your defense, it usually slows you down, or at least it does in some games, to an insane level. To the point where some of the games, when you're speedrunning them, if you are a speedrunner, which isn't everybody by any means, it's easier just to run around completely unburdened by armor at all. Which I guess that is an example of the armor mechanic in a RPG game getting uncontrollable and unwieldy. Yeah, I'm not sure I can do anything here. We need the ace, which is way up here. So let's shuffle this pile. And that didn't really help much. Freeze a couple of spots up, but unless I keep moving. There we go. That's interesting. It only picked up a couple of the cards when there actually was quite a few more cards that could have been collected. I don't feel like I have a full understanding of how this game is programmed and how this game will react, which honestly it should be pretty obvious. Like, it should be playing very consistently and very obviously. It shouldn't be doing anything different other than compared to the original FreeCell, the Microsoft FreeCell game. I'm calling it the original FreeCell, but that's really not the case. Right, this is a monastery, so we'll buy heroism. Less heroism do, by the way. We can't find out. Let's see. Drag this around. Heroism moves a random card to a goal cell. Interesting. I want the flee button at the far right. It's nice you can drag these around, but they don't really mean much because you really don't have enough mana to cast spells every time. Maybe when we're at the end of the game we'll have enough mana where you start a game like this and it's just like spell, 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 and all the spells win the game for you in less than 30 seconds, which is, I believe, an achievement. And that certainly makes more sense now that we see there are ways that it can be done through effectively cheating with magic. This game still, though, right on the front screen needs a look, no RPG element, let's just let you play FreeCell mode. We'll just pick a random game seed and let you play. No guarantee that you'll even win. I imagine any kind of hardcore FreeCell player would not appreciate playing only winnable games. That would feel unchallenging, I imagine, to people. Although I can slightly appreciate it for the RPG element that's happening here. What if we did this and then did this? Okay. And that solves a little problem. Maybe not a big one. And I think that's it. Which also puts me in kind of a weird position because, like, as someone trying to cover this game, unless we continue to have... Let's try to spell once. Okay. It becomes difficult to continue to cover this game as there's less to say, so it really is just going to be... This series is going to become a very laid-back, chill series where I may just go quiet with very little left to say. And where's the one card we're missing there? Feels like you might be getting double the amount of requirement for XP, which I guess if that means we have to get to a level 50 or something, we might have some major trouble with that. Speaking of major trouble, this is gonna be... This, I believe, is all 4 suits in the maximum amount of spaces that I think they could get on the field. But you kind of want to have to use all your spells, all your mana. You don't want to die for sure, but if you can justify using everything, you can then rest at the end and spend money there, and then you'll have, I guess, a place where you would go back when you die instead of having to walk all the way from the beginning of the map. I guess that only makes sense a couple of times though. After like, if I can find one central capital that I can rest in the middle of the map, that's probably perfectly acceptable a location to have as your reset location for the rest of the game. Let's see. 7, 6, 5, 4, and 10, 9, 5. This 4 is the problem. We've got a lot of things here. Let's see. If I put that up, and then that up there, and then that there, and then that there, that may have fixed some things. And then there. Can't move that there. Just do one more thing. It's the 3 that's the problem, so this whole pile needs to go. Or this 4 needs to go. I'm just out of everything, so I'm gonna have to shuffle and I'm about to die, so I may have to retreat too. This is not good. This is not a good outcome. Heal. Oh, well, that was undo. And that didn't help me any. Is there anything I can do? I can get one free spot. But I need this 4 here. And I lost. And then that refills your health. And then that brings you back here. I should have moved faster. Let's go over here. Like we're level 13. This was a level 2 challenge. Let's see how much of a challenge this really would be now. It's pretty tight with having only 6 columns. But if I was to do this, that gets played. Then that gets played. And that gets played. And if I put that there, then we can move that there, and that can move that there, and that can move that there. I can just use another spell. Just use all the magic up. Might as well. Move that, move that. What just attacked me? That was like out of nowhere. Or there was another thing that was about to attack me and I didn't even see it. Because I popped the bubble of the one I was looking at. There we go. So you liberated the point of interest, hole of Dawn. Well done, your experience has made you stronger. You've gained 214 max health and 9 max mana. You're fully restored. You now can learn the Bloodstorm spell at the monastery. And I think I just liberated the area. That's, I think, all I did. I don't even know how to look at the stats. We were looking at the stats somehow, but I've forgotten how. I'd have to run like way over here. Like the pause menu just does that. So it's got to be under the inventory menu, I guess. That must be where the stats are. For a game that's going to put in RPG elements, it's really not taught me the interface. In all fairness, I haven't played an RPG in a long time. I have a long list of games that I'm trying to think about playing in the form of the wish list on my Steam account. One of the considerations are what are the top 10 RPGs and what are the top 10 Japanese RPGs or Asian RPGs or action RPGs. Action RPGs is actually what a RPG stands for, and it took me a long time to figure that out too. So I'm trying to wrap my head around like the major time commitment that comes around playing a bunch of RPGs and which ones are worth playing or not. A big point in that is the Final Fantasy series. Are any of the Final Fantasy games worth playing on PC? Are they all so old? Are they all so well known that there's nothing new to be said there? Or would it be better for me to go play something completely different? Yeah, we're about halfway to unlocking our third FreeCell, and we are, I guess, maybe approaching a fourth of the way done with the spells. And here's the progress. So 32 of the Kingdom of Mahan areas have been unlocked. It would have been kind of cool if each kingdom had a different artistic theme when you're doing the battle, whether the background was different. If you just had each of these shields, which obviously these have been drawn, so if each of these shields played a big role in the background, that might be interesting how you did it, though it still might be very distracting. Yeah, we, according to the game and the inventory, are at 11% complete. We have all of our health, so I can run around, and I think I've done everything except for this one, and then we'll start going this way, and there's just stuff, to say the least. I guess this is the border, so if I get this, and this done, and everything over here, I will have conquered most of this land. I'll have to run around this way and get all of these. And then I guess it will boil down to, do I want to try to take out this little nation here? That might be pretty easy to do. And then up here we've got lots of other nations. Interestingly enough, these specific things, like the Peak of Sahil, don't seem like they're achievements, and they don't seem like they play any extra role. So it really feels like somebody wrote a lot of story here, a lot of backstory. This doesn't just feel like stuff that was stolen from some like fantasy novel series I've just not heard of. It could have been, and I would really have no clue. But to have such a fantasy world developed and then just put FreeCell on it screams that this pretty obviously wasn't going to be a FreeCell game in the first place. If this was a standard RPG and we were running around this world and we were just fighting enemies that were randomly spawning, and if the camera was zoomed in quite a bit, yeah, you could have a decent short RPG here if there was any story to it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.